Neville Chamberlain has been played by Adolf Hitler. The French were dragged kicking and screaming into whatever Chamberlain wanted because Chamberlain had the whip hand over the French. Basically, if the French didn't have British help, they were stuck on the continent with the Germans. This is not a place they want to be. So, the British Prime Minister personally stops a war from happening in 1938. Now, I will point out again, had the war happened in 1938, the British would have been a lot less advanced in their plans to rearm. But the Germans were also way less advanced in their plans to rearm than they would be a year later. The Czechs would have had a mountain frontier to defend. They had a good army. They would have had support from the Western democracies, Britain and France, and they would have had support from Soviet Russia, although that's probably going to be a problematical bit of help. But instead, Germany now has swallowed much of Central Europe, and Chamberlain realizes that Hitler's word is absolutely worse than worthless. Worse than worthless. So, what Hitler does after absorbing the Czech and Slovak lands is he begins complaining about the Polish corridor and Danzig. The Polish corridor is this strip of land that connected the new nation of Poland to the Baltic Sea. The city of Danzig, a German city of the old Hanseatic League, was separated from Germany so that it would be an international city that would be as friendly to Polish commerce and trade as it would be to German commerce and trade. As it was, the Poles build a new city of Gdynia right down the coast. They don't really need Danzig, but it's still separated from Germany. But Hitler begins making the same claims about the German minorities in parts of Silesia, in Posen, and in West Prussia and Danzig that he made about the Sudeten Germans, that the stinking Poles and their Jews were violating German maidens and stealing German farms, defrauding German account holders at banks, and forcing Germans to learn nothing but Polish in their schools and to give up their German culture and their German heritage. The same old war drums are being beaten. But the world has seen this before, and Chamberlain has seen this before. To his credit, he orders the expansion, the rapid expansion of Britain's Royal Air Force, new construction for the Royal Navy, and the expansion of the British Army. But is this too little, too late? Yes. He still keeps Winston Churchill out of the mix, even though Churchill has been proven right again and again by the actions of Hitler, because Chamberlain, frankly, doesn't like Churchill. He considers Churchill to be a loose cannon and disloyal for a variety of reasons. Churchill, when he was a young man, left the Conservative Party and joined the Liberal Party. Churchill once said, if you're a young man and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're an old man and you're not a conservative, you have no mind. So what Churchill did is, after being a liberal for a while, when they were in power, he became a conservative again. And so a lot of the conservatives, dyed-in-the-wool party men, don't trust Churchill. Also, he, to them, is obnoxious. He's so sure of himself. He's so well-spoken. He's so willing to write. He makes people look like idiots who face him. So Churchill, who is the British politician who has understood the Nazi menace the most, is still kept at an arm's length during this process whereby Britain wakes up. The other thing that Chamberlain does is he says to Germany and the world, if Poland is attacked, Britain guarantees her security, because Britain and France, it's always in France, because the French at this point are desperate to not be left behind by the British, Britain and France will go to war to protect Poland. I'll do this again. Britain over here and France over here are going to go to war with Germany right here to protect Poland right here. That's like saying, I in Coeur d'Alene guarantee the security of Seattle, Washington, against an attack by Spokane, Washington. It's kind of hard for me to get there because Spokane is right in the way. And it's kind of hard for the British and French to get to Poland because Germany is right in the way. And the Kattegat and Skagerrak, the straits between Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, are areas that the German Navy and Air Force could very well protect. So Chamberlain guarantees Polish security. And Hitler goes, ooh, guarantees. They guaranteed Czech security back in the day. See how that turned out. So Hitler is beating the war drums throughout the summer. And then, bum, bum, bum! Something dramatic and unexpected happens, like in a TV movie or a real movie. The most unlikely thing happens in late August of 1939. It is called the Nazi-Soviet Pact, or the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact for the foreign ministers of both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, or the Hitler-Stalin Pact. But in the last days of August 1939, the ultimate communist power, Stalin's Russia, and the ultimate fascist power, National Socialist Germany, come together and declare to the world that they're bestest buddies. These countries and ideologies that have made each other into Satan for as long can be, even though they're atheists, they make each other into Satan, are now going to march hand in hand into the future. Surprise! No one expects this. Now, you don't have to be a genius rocket scientist brain surgeon to understand what's about to happen. The world has seen this before. When Germany and Russia get chummy with one another, there's a country in the middle that's about to get snacked upon. The Poles are utterly terrified of what's probably about to happen. And they have reason to be, because there are secret provisions in the treaty that come out very quickly. In the treaty, the agreement is that actually all territorial disputes between the Baltic and Black Sea will be resolved between the Nazis and the Soviets by basically a game of risk type strategy. In other words, the Soviets and Germans will take their border region and then they'll just be bordered up against one another, and they have an alliance to do this. In the treaty, Germany is to get Lithuania and 1/3 of Poland. So Germany would expand its East Prussian region to include Lithuania, and it would get basically Western Poland. And the Soviets would get the eastern 2/3 of Poland, Latvia, and Estonia. And probably they'd go after Finland, but that isn't officially part of the deal. However, the Russians don't want the Germans in Lithuania because it brings German troops a bit closer to Moscow and St. Petersburg. Leningrad. It's now Leningrad. It's not Petrograd anymore. It's not St. Petersburg. It's Leningrad. So the Soviets make a counterproposal at the last minute that the Germans are forced to agree to, which is that Germany will get 2/3 of Poland, including the Warsaw district of central Poland, and that the Soviets will get the eastern third of Poland, plus Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. The Germans, realizing that the Soviets have them over a barrel, they agree. They're not thrilled. So the agreement is made. Then, wouldn't you know it, a group of Polish soldiers cross the border into Germany and attack a radio station. And they're all killed by the heroic German border guards. And that forces poor defenseless Germany to protect itself as best it can against the evil, scary Poles. In other words, the Germans took a bunch of concentration camp prisoners, put them in captured Polish uniforms, shot them around the radio station, claimed that this was a Polish attack, and used it as a pretext to go to war. On September the 1st, 1939, the fire starts again, hotter and more intense than ever. The second and greatest of the world wars begins as Germany, from its East Prussian area to the north, its Brandenburg and Silesian areas to the west, and its Slovak and Czech areas to the south, is going to invade Poland. And at some point, a few weeks later, it's understood that the Russians will march into eastern Poland and conclude the deal. The hopes of the utopian pacifists are destroyed. The world is at war.